you be mine. I have always wanted to have a neighbor just like you. I've always wanted to live in a neighborhood with you, so let's make the most of this beautiful day. Since we're together, we might as well say, would you be mine, could you be mine, won't you be my neighbor? Won't you please, won't you please, please won't you be my neighbor?
Just put it on your shoulder and right on your face.
Okay.
Basically, rat poison. Everybody's listening. Why did you play something say that? Don't you forget where you came from? Oops. Everybody got that?
Now introducing the starting lineup for Miami FC. At defense, number 2, Jonathan Ricketts. On defense, number 4, Nico Cardona. At midfield, number 5, Diego Mercado. At midfield, number 8, Matias Romero. At forward, number 9, Francisco Bonfilio. At midfield, number 10, Sebastian Blanco. At defense, number 13, Dalton Canuso. On defense, number 21, Bolu Akiniode. At forward, number 26, Lucas Milano. At midfield, number 30, Christian Vasquez. And in goal, number 31, Felipe Rodriguez. Head coach for Miami FC is Gaston Madoni.
The USL Championship on ESPN this Tuesday night from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Highmark Stadium playing host to the Pittsburgh Riverhounds and Miami FC. A look at the Eastern Conference standings, and Pittsburgh still sees a bridge for themselves into the top 4. Only 4 points off North Carolina, 5 from Loudoun. Meanwhile, Miami, a win could spring them as high as 6th place in the standings. And good evening, everyone. Joined by Devin Kerr, Mike Watts on hand, and this one's a fun one, believe it or not. Miami struggled so much a year ago. Pittsburgh always in the mix. Dev, what do you make of these two sides as we hit the midway point of the season?
To me, the conversation about this is consistency. Very simple. If you look at this Miami FC team, they've struggled for regularity of performances, but still taken down some of the league's best, including current Players' Shield leader Charleston Battery. But I want to start with the Pittsburgh Riverhounds and how they tried to start this season. They wanted to be ball dominant. They wanted to make you chase the game. And what ended up happening, Mike, was they too struggled for consistency. They were conceding too much unnecessarily, and they really didn't have the complement on the attacking side of things. So about 5 games into the year, Bob Lilly says, you know what, we're going to go back to what we're good at, and that's their ability to be stout defensively. They dropped off, gave the opponent more possession, made them challenge a little bit higher up the field, but that's what this team is always good at, making their opponent adjust to their game plan instead of chasing. And again, we're having a conversation about the Hounds as one of the best defensive squads in the league.
Statistically the best a year ago and again now. Now, if you're Miami, how do you get a goal past them? Let's go ahead of the curve.
Have to start with the 9 and Francisco Bonfilio. He's a prototypical 9 in the sense of he likes to play forward-facing. He wants to play in transition. The modern game allows him to do so for how direct this Miami FC team plays. I'm going to show you 3 different examples. 1, back shoulder run. That's easy, right? Well, it's still about timing for Bonfilio. The second one, he's starting to learn how to work down underneath, but when he doesn't pick up that passage, watch the way that he starts to vary. He bends on the initial one, then pulls it to the backside. That holds the center back. It forces the back line to shift itself, opens up a nice square ball for him through the middle to open up the one-on-one with the goalkeeper. But this is the most difficult and where they want him to start to take a bigger step moving forward. As he works under, interplay off of his teammates around him. You give him more opportunity in the pocket to play in combination play, you get more goals from Francisco Bonfilio.
We'll see if he can find goals tonight against the stingiest defense in the championship. It is a big one at Highmark, believe it or not. The Miami FC and the Pittsburgh Riverhounds are coming up next on ESPN2.
On defense, number 23, Ian Vector. And in midfield, number 42, Jackson Walty. The assistant coaches for the Riverhounds are Rob Vincent and John Bush. And the head coach for your Pittsburgh Riverhounds is Bob Lilly. Delivering the game ball for tonight's match is Savannah Pauley, Director of Marketing, and Ken Coltrane, the Vice President of Marketing and Product Development at Prince Tires, the official tire partner of the USL. They're joined by Flinny from local dealer Flynn's Tire and Auto. To find the Flynn's Tire and Auto location near you, visit PrinceTireUSA.com and click Find a Retailer. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask you to please rise and remove your hats as we honor America with the singing of our national anthem. Performing our national anthem this evening, please welcome Gina Morgano.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched so gallantly streaming, and the rockets drove down the fast bursting air.
Top of the evening to you from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The Pittsburgh Riverhounds set to meet with Miami FC on this Tuesday night. It is a side sitting 9th in the league, taking on a Pittsburgh side trying to inch toward the top 4 tonight. These two sides historically have seen Pittsburgh the better of the two. 5 wins in their 10 all-time meetings. The reality for Miami a season ago, just 11 total points. 3 victories all season. And it was a mismatch when these sides met in week 31. Pittsburgh arguably the best team in the championship down the stretch. Miami certainly the worst. Well, the tables are turned now. Take a look at the starting lineup for Pittsburgh here tonight.
Tactical change, 9 games back for Bob Lilly, has now produced just 5 goals against, but 5 shutouts in there. So defensively, they're set. They keep the game in front of them. They allow Jackson Walty and Bradley Sample to go attack the central locations. But what I'm looking at on the night, Mike, is the relationships between Robbie Mertz, Augustine Williams, and Danny Griffin. How they work off of each other. More importantly, how they pull the rest of this team forward in transition. Miami FC and their back line, they sit 4. They like to work 2 underneath in this 4-2-3-1. The question here for them is going to be defensively, can they shore up some of the self-inflicted wounds? They've actually got good structure. They've just gotten in their own way. They got to tidy some things up, and going forward, they either have to open it up more as a team, playing this game up higher defensively, or slow it down at times in combination play to allow the 37-year-old Sebastian Blanco to get on the ball more frequently. Just 2 assists on the season. They need more from him in the 10.
So all eyes tonight on Blanco's running mate, Francisco Bonfilio, 15 games, 10 goals. That is tied for second in the championship with the ascendant Wilmer Cabrera Jr., only behind Cal Jennings. Well, Blanco's resume speaks for itself. An extended period with Portland Timbers. He finds his way to Miami and has helped turn this team into a playoff contender. There is Dick, arguably the best goalkeeper in the championship this year. He's allowed the fewest goals of any starter in the league. And a season ago, Pittsburgh similarly had the best defense in the championship. Can Miami, who probably have this game circled, one of the many teams that left a lopsided result on them a season ago, pick up an enormous result here tonight? They have been giant killers. There's the opening whistle, and here we go on this Tuesday night. It's the only game in the championship. It is the USL Championship on ESPN. The Pittsburgh Riverhounds in their 26th season, playing host to Miami FC. Skims out toward half field, flicked along by Danny Griffin. Off the head of Jonathan Ricketts. Devin, I don't know that we have enough time to describe all that went wrong for Miami FC last year, but I would be inclined to agree with a chunk of the conversation we had with the Pittsburgh coach, Bob Lilly. Last year they were young, this year they are seasoned. They seem to have more ideas, more coherent. It's certainly shown in far better results after a scuffling start.
I'd argue maybe too many ideas at times because of the difference in personalities that you have, certainly the experience that accompanies it, and a head coach in Castelmadoni that feels like they're headed in the right direction. I would tend to agree, but also simplifying it at this point in time. You're halfway through, and you could look at that as glass half full, Mike, or glass half empty. For them, it has to be glass half full for what they've experienced so far. They've got an informed striker and found what seems to be 9 out of their starting 11. Plenty of time to shore up the rest of that conversation in the team sheet. But no doubt consistency is what their manager is looking from right now. It's been too up and down this season.
Blanco gets the return. That broken up in the end. Akinyoti. Driven away by Felipe Rodriguez. 3-0 defeat at the hands of Charleston last time out in the league. If not for Pipe, the 21-year-old Uruguayan goalkeeper, Gaston Madoni said easily could have been 6-0. Made 8 saves in that game.
A testament to what Miami FC have been able to do in terms of quality of depth. Of course, Bill Hamid injured. Working back into all of this. I mean, there wasn't even a single player that you could look at on the roster last year, given how difficult of a season it was, and say, let's talk about how in form he is. What would he look like on another team? Now all of a sudden, you're looking at a Blanco in the 10. You've got Bonfilio up top in the 9. A back line with a veteran who spearheads it all in Polu Akinyoti. Youngsters. There's a nice blend within this group.
Speared back inside by Blanco. Nearly lost to Williams. And that's a bit too much of a grab on Akinyoti from Augie Williams. There is Gaston Madoni, his first season at the helm. Spent the better part of 15 years at Boca Juniors. He's been at a number of clubs in his native Argentina. And has certainly brought in, I think, a positive attitude, a lineup, as you mentioned, with more veteran presence. Antonio Nocerino, who left over the offseason, or rather left midseason a year ago, ultimately landed in Las Vegas, has since been fired by the Lights. Tony's done a wonderful job, all considered. Throw for Nico Cardona. Fluttering down to Romero outside to Blanco. Good step inside of Milano. Short-lived.
This is one of those areas that I was referencing where maybe too many ideas have been presented, or at least the personalities are trying to attack individually. The collective of the group overall still not fully matriculating into the overall quality of performances. Immediately one, try and play negative, and that's something that Gaston Madoni does not want to do. He wants to play like this, very vertical, force teams to chase in transition. They've also gotten themselves in trouble, as good as it's been for Bonfilio going forward. He's either created much too space up high, Mike, and dragged himself away from players, or when he drops underneath, they haven't been able to collect themselves in combination play, something they've really focused in on over the past couple of weeks.
Cardona. Zach and Yodi. Knudsen picked off by Griffin. Bounced away from Mertz.
That has been the overall frustration you just saw play out in front of you. Again, defensively, near impenetrable. The Hounds are. You can see the structure as you move right to left here. Back line, sit 3, sit 5, and immediately the second ball, the third ball, they are so physical in nature. Miami FC recognizing how they have to win those second chances in order to have any opportunity on the road for the chance to take down that man right there, Bob Lilly. And what the Pittsburgh Riverhounds have been able to do this season, but playing the game up high. That offensive front, Augustine Williams, Robbie Mertz, and Danny Griffin, that's still the combination they're trying to figure out. Charles All has showed well for this team. Bertrand Jacquesson, a couple of goals in Jaeger Cup, hopes to provide support for this attack that, although good defensively, still struggling to provide goals on the attacking front.
14 goals scored, 14 conceded on the year for Pittsburgh, and none from the aforementioned Jockeson. Did have a hat trick in that 4-0 Pittsburgh drubbing of Miami late last season.
That's top 3 defensively and unfortunately bottom 4 on the attacking front. So yeah, balance maybe in terms of goal differential, but not production.
And unfortunately today, excessive heat warning. Good chance these sides are going to struggle play with high energy for a full 90 minutes. I don't know what the thought is about jumping in the river at halftime, but I imagine there are worse ideas.
It's encouraged.
Okay. Here's Romero, 29-year-old former Argentinian under-17 player. Actually played with Sebastian Driussi in that team just over a decade ago. We'll give and go. Knocked outside, ball lofted across, nobody home. Maybe a chance to reserve off the wing. Snagged by Rodriguez.
I have to wonder why you go outside there when you have the ability 20 yards out to at least challenge the goalkeeper early on. Much better from the Pittsburgh Riverhounds moving up high. Notice how the unit goes together, Mike. There's always been a clear separation from that front line of 3 and the trailing midfielders. Much better job by Bradley Sample to advance the possession.
Lucas Milano. Look, give and go through Cardona. Deflected en route. A bit more sure-handed. Williams overtaken. Dalton Knutson. Akinyoti. Select, proud to be the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship. From the Academy to the big leagues, Select is there every step of the way. Visit us.select-sport.com for the latest Select products, specials, and more. Select, the player's choice. That's a foul.
I like the pressure, though, by Sebastian Blanco. Really good cat and mouse with Jackson Walty, Bradley Sample working in those double pivots in the midfield for Pittsburgh. Great shadow that he's provided so far, forcing a little bit more of the possession to the outside for Pittsburgh. Allows the midfielders out wide for Miami to keep the game in front of them. Defensively, that back 4 has more time to be able to operate with the advancement up high of that front 3.
Knutson's come, scraped Griffin off the turf.
Still not allowed to do that, Mike. It's hard to believe, but in the modern game, arms, heads, shoulders, knees, and toes still unavailable for selection on defensive tackles.
Well, I was gonna say,
it's absurd we haven't gotten there yet.
No. All lobbed in, clever throw. Rodriguez, it's gonna ricochet by him. He's got it now. Quick distribution, turned over to Barnes. Running at goal. Kicked away from an on-rushing Danny Griffin. Those are the youthful moments that a year ago would have bitten Miami. Now they're rushing the other way. Lucas Milano. Milano goes down. Appeared to catch his arm. Referee says play on. Where's that in the modern game? Here's Walty. Miami, a win equals tied for 6th place. They sit in 9th, outside the playoff picture only by goal difference. Flicked on. Out of reach. Well, the Hounds 3 consecutive draws, but this begins a 4-game homestand. Lob forward and settled by Augie Williams. Knutson follows.
This is the luxury you get if you have Olu Akinyoti on the back line. His services previously deployed within the midfield. That's about his vision, timing on tackles after the high turnover to set himself, be able to go attack inside the box. Never want to have to leave your feet unnecessarily, but both sets of pressure. Game-saving tackles to keep this knotted up at 0-0.
Nothing in that on Vactors.
No, definitely not.
Header through, Akinyoti sweeps over.
And part of this is also going to have to be that there is allowed to be contact on a tackle, and conversation about exactly when and where it occurs. Perfection for the Hounds on the second one. These are the moments where you want to see Miami FC evolve a little bit, and I mean that in a sense of you play direct up over the top, that's great. Now you have to move your defensive line up quicker, especially against a Pittsburgh Riverhounds team who likes to play fast, Mike, coming off the back line. They'll win second chance balls, absolutely, but that split-second decision allows them to have more space to operate within, just like this.
Williams trying to get around Knutson, kept it in. Offside for Augie Williams. Part of the problem there is, okay, Pittsburgh is going to play forward quickly. Then they bring it back. 4 players from Miami all push forward on their own, and it opened up like a 60-yard gap.
Yeah, and that's kind of been the story of, A, Pittsburgh not having enough players to work off of. So there's the first one that goes high, that's fine. But then after you pick up that passage, there's immediate pressure there. And you've got way too much space in between all 3 of your ranks, back line, midfield, and front line, to be able to create combination play, which is what Miami FC want to do. They don't want to have 75% possession. They just want to be able to connect as quickly as possible. Goalkeeper, center back, midfield, striker. That's when they're at their best. But they create too much separation, which eliminates link-up play.
Well, there's an immense irony to the fact Pittsburgh this year, when they have more than half of the ball in the league, 1 win, 1 draw in 6 games, 4 losses. Miami, when they have 40% possession or less, 4-2-1, 4 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw in 7 games. So Pittsburgh having 39% right now, not really all that concerning. Ball comes into Griffin. Held in by Biasi, Griffin. That's Sample. Suddenly there's a little bit of a central midfield logjam going on for Pittsburgh. Good chance we'll see Charles All later in the game. He and Sample have been jostling.
I have to tell you, you and I have had the luxury of being able to converse with the head coach from Pittsburgh, Bob Lilly, many a time over nearly a decade together. This is the first time that I've heard him immediately talk about his bench.
Yeah.
Notice how quickly in that conversation in the lead up to this match, he talked about the depth of his team and how they were going to be challenged based upon the tempo of Miami FC, as well as the heat, the turf, fixture congestion. Talked about Bradley Sample, the battle between he and Charles All within the midfield, different profile of players, but both really challenging for a similar position on the field. Very quick to say that he doesn't feel like this is going to be an 11-man game, that it's going to go much deeper into the ranks to be able to get a result.
Griffin trying to roll past Mercado. Up by Rodriguez, who drew the short straw tonight. staring into the Pittsburgh sunset this evening. Although he did acknowledge 90-degree heat today in Pittsburgh playing on turf, he goes, I'll admit, Miami is not the team I would have preferred to host. You guys had a fairly decent conversation about what's worse, Pittsburgh heat or South Floridian heat.
As if the greatness of managers that is Bob Lilly needed more to his repertoire. Meteorology school in the offseason, apparently.
Yeah, Bob the weatherman. It's part of the game once you get to this part of the summer.
Oh, it's clean football. Nice, concise passing.
Blanco rolls outside. Here's Vasquez. Ball whipped across and toward frame. Kisses off the bar and over. Well, that's a wonderful chance for Miami FC.
Notice where it starts to. It's high up pressure within the midfield. Winning the second chance ball comes over the back shoulder. But as it springs up, look at how many players, 6 separate players in a Miami FC jersey that are in the defensive halves for Pittsburgh. First ball comes right down through the middle. Then decision making doesn't take very long. Allowing the ball to come up high. There's the brilliance of Sebastian Blanco. Doesn't even touch the ball, allows it to drop in front of one of the most deadliest strikers right now in the championship. A bit off, but certainly the best movement we've seen so far in this match.
Miami holding their own here on the road in Pittsburgh. 20th minute now. Lofted down, there's Dick. Return to sender back out into the width. Biasi got dumped. Play continues. Walty. And Pittsburgh has to go all the way back to Dick. Akinyota, you could hear the scream from the Miami sideline. Second ball, no one stepped forward after that initial win of the header. Slip through, end line, slicing his Mertz. He's rejected, Biasi playing. That did take a deflection into the Paul Child stand. It is a corner for Pittsburgh.
That's a clever run by Danny Griffin. In this front line trying to still establish where these relationships should be going. It's the way that he drifts off here. The advanced position, sneaks in behind Akinyota, who's got a track from the other side of the 6, especially with that man right there. Augie Williams tracking in front of him.
There's Robbie Mertz, Pittsburgh native. Take the set pieces. It's basically inside the corner suite in the run-up. Mertz hammers the cross. Knutson backs that header over the line.
I would play quick here and not allow them to set themselves. That's the one thing about Miami FC. You have to be able to take advantage of. They struggle to be able to organize, regardless about where the ball is on the pitch, Mike, but getting back to what their initial shape looks like. Restarts, play quick, just like the decision-making we saw from Miami going the other direction. Need the same to follow for Pittsburgh here.
Factor brings it forward. A lot of English on that, kept it in play to Miami's benefit in theory. They'll have to find their way through the Pittsburgh finger trap. Easier said than done, given away by Vasquez. And line service toward Williams. Spewed right back up the middle, and Miami rushing the other way. Vasquez slowed up his run, couple options percolating into the area. Vasquez the target. Launched crossfield toward Blanco. Met by Barnes. I'll say this for a guy like Augie Williams. The numbers right now aren't eye-popping, although he's certainly scored goals at this level before. How many times do you see him defending in the defensive third?
He works, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
He's willing to put in the miles on the odometer down underneath. He's not the guy who's just going to stand up top and wait for service to him. Some of that is also frustration, but I don't mind it because he's willing to chase the game a little bit, and he still does a really good job, Mike, of when he does work under, of being that focal point, providing pressure up top. I don't put this all on Augie Williams, though. Again, they're struggling to find goals, the Hounds are, and it's easy to look at Augie and think, okay, he's only got 3 goals in 16 appearances, but a lot of what he's doing up top, 2v1, 3v1 situations where he's working by himself and doesn't have a really established connection with anyone underneath.
Barnes give and go. Barnes. Icing through the area.
And when they do get there, they don't play the ball into the box. You know, that ball's got to be hit immediately by Perrin Barnes, where they have Augie Williams on the back shoulder. Great tackle there.
Griffin. There's Mertz. You don't get very far in a conversation with Bob Lilly without him extolling the virtue of his now assistant coach, but longtime captain, Bernardo Forbes, Danny Griffin, Robbie Mertz, the mainstays in Pittsburgh. Blanco. Vasquez is going to drop in kindly. Whisked aside by Dick. Turns away Milano. Here's Romero. Akinyote. That's been a painful first half for Bradley Sample. And went to the NCAA tournament 4 times over in his 5 years at the University of Louisville.
It's fun to see him continue to take steps at the professional level now. Second season almost under his belt with the Hounds in the championship. Single midfielder at the collegiate level, a lot more work to do with the ball at his feet, trying to play initially into him and then back to the outside. Now he gets to play forward facing a little bit more and attack higher up on the pitch. At least that's how Pittsburgh would like him to see the game.
Barnes. He and Milano got entangled, and with Milano being down, they'll stop play again. Milano, once upon a time, a designated player in MLS at Portland, part of their 2015 MLS Cup winning team.
You can try the new summer sizzling pineapple burger and foot-long chili dog while over at Nacho Junction.
Any one of those tickle your fancy?
Probably the foot-long hot dog.
Delicious new options today.
They say there's chili on that. Pineapple doesn't really belong on much of anything. Not pizza, not burgers, and we'll...
Oh, you and I are going to have words.
Well, if you want that burger with pineapple so bad, we can tell you that soccer season is here. SeatGeek, the official ticketing partner of the USL. Get all your USL tickets and more from the #1 ticketing site, SeatGeek. Your ticket to great seats. Robbie Mertz, upended by Akinyoti, waves him up off the ground. Blanco dissecting. Vasquez unloading. Stings Dick's hands. Blanco floats this in over the top. Dick arriving. Took out the opposing player. Back into the width here for Miami. Still player down. I believe that's Bonfilio. It is Bonfilio. It's the #2 scorer in the championship, railroaded by the reigning goalkeeper of the year.
Fans, we're having a flash sale. We're giving you a chance to score a special 30% discount on all of our t-shirts. Make sure to head over to the team store now.
Eric appears
Take advantage of the special
okay,
sale before it expires in the
shaking
40th
his
minute
head,
of tonight's
but
match.
all attention turns to Francisco Bonfilio.
I'll tell you, Mike, from the angle, I actually think this is more about his lower back than a head injury. Now, neither is what you want to have to deal with, but certainly both players having an opportunity to come out here well within his right, Bonfilio, to challenge for this ball just outside the top of the 6. And it's contact, it's incidental. It's part of the game. Goalkeeper gets the ball. There's contact after the fact. Not an issue whatsoever that it should be a foul in the referee's eyes, but certainly a massive concern for this Miami FC team. Struggling for goals over the course of the season, just 16 on the year. That's 5th fewest in the championship, but 10 coming from their #9 and Bonfilio.
You saw Gaston Madoni there. It was Manuel Madoni who ultimately brought Bonfilio into the team. But 4 or 5 players on this roster experience around Gaston Madoni during his time as a youth coach in Argentina. I think you're exactly right, the way he's grasping his lower back, Bonfilio.
Your hope, if you're Gaston Madoni, is that that's a muscle thing where it just tweaks itself real quick, sends a stinger up the body, and you need a minute or two to just reestablish some confidence in your actions. I've been there before. You feel like the weight of the world is on you, and then as you get up, you start going through the motions. A couple sprays of the special sauce from your trainer. Good as new.
Bonfilio returns after taking that knock from Dick. And play continues, 32nd minute now, served crossfield. And that's too high for Mertz to do anything with it. Runs over top of Ricketts. Felipe Rodriguez to put it in play. We remind you that eFootball is here. Live your dream, rep your team, and play as your favorite USL Championship club. eFootball, free to play. Download now. This is becoming a bit too common for Pittsburgh's liking. Over to Milano. Trying to curl that toward frame.
Same thing, though. Decision-making for both of these teams, 20 yards and in. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's been poor. That ball's got to be hit first time. All the hard work has been done. You're not going to get that much more out of it if you're Lucas Milano. It's an unnecessary first touch that leads to not even a half chance outside the top of the box. You hit it first time, Mike. All the momentum from Pittsburgh moving one direction. Use it against them. Work away from goal. Force Eric Dick to react.
Go ahead and head on down to the western entrance. Meet me. You there. Be a part of the fun at halftime if you're wearing a costume. Let's go, Hounds.
Intriguing night. No way you could have foreseen the weather when you put out the promotion calendar at the beginning of the year. It is wicked night. Filio, the thievery for Miami. There's not one character that I think you can dress up as and feel like you're cooling off tonight, unfortunately, from neither the film nor the Broadway show. Foul whistle by Griggs.
Look who picks it up. There's Augie Williams.
Again.
35 minutes into this match, just 20 yards from his own goal. Credit to him. A lot of strikers wouldn't put themselves in that situation, given the way statistically the season has gone for him. Again, just 3 goals and 16 apps on the year, but a true testament to the work rate that you get from Augie Williams off the ball when it's not going right up high.
Top 5 scorer in the history of the league, approaching 80 career goals. Sean Suber. Dude does not leave the field. Williams knockdown throw belongs to Pittsburgh. Sample. Oh, wow, Sample. Cutting back, quick strike across the face of goal. That is deemed a corner. Danny Griffin then a fairly dangerous spot either for himself, trying to sneak that inside, or maybe Augie Williams.
Did we not just address Bradley Sample and how far along he's come playing this game higher up? Again, a deep-lying 6 in college that has been giving himself a lot more freedom within the system for Bob Lilly. As he cuts in, still uses the body to his advantage. 20 yards from his own net or his opponent. Much better in that explosion to the byline that allows the ball to come square back across. That's better from their 8.
Corner for Pittsburgh. Easy for Rodriguez, and this is typical quick distribution. Blanco. Miami coming off a 2-1 loss to South Georgia Tormenta in the Jägermeister Cup that featured 39 total shots. Pittsburgh a 2-2 draw against Portland Hearts of Pine in the Jägermeister Cup. Neither team advanced into the final 8. We'll show you the final matchups set to be played August 20th. We begin the knockout stage of that competition, which has gone on for months now.
Play it in, got to play this ball sooner. It's got to be the 5th time we've seen in this first half, Mike, their inability to execute an open space, something that pretty much every single goal, though not a plenty, has come for Miami.
Blanco retains through the challenge of Williams. Vasquez has worked onto the left-hand side now, spent much of this game off on the right. Knudsen. Mercado, now Vasquez. Slides beyond Barnes. Picked off by Griffin. Mertz got bodied. Blanco. Flick on didn't play, continues here. Spins beyond Cardona. Vasquez. Cardona.
This is where you get yourself into trouble, though. Certainly Miami has to be better in their movements off the ball overall, but against this Hounds team, you're not often going to win this argument, Mike. 40 yards and in. Pittsburgh have 10 players behind the ball. You want to go direct into the box. We've already seen that, where Dick's more than willing to come up high and eliminate that threat.
Unsurprising bravery from Dick. Kept in by Barnes. Skitters over to Akinyoti. Settled by Mertz. Knudsen, his shadow, out to Barnes. The numbers are good here. Barnes, the cross, header stirred off the post and into Rodriguez. It's not often you're going to find a more open header inside the penalty area in the run of play than that.
It's about the creativity of Robbie Mertz, though. Great job just stopping on a dime as he starts to move Miami FC the other direction. Perrin Barnes recognizes the space down in the corner. The second it's played in, Miami's in trouble. Excellent run, peel off the back shoulder. The service right atop the 6, contorts his body onto the far post, and really unlucky that it comes off the woodwork. Certainly the best chance for Pittsburgh of the first half.
That through a 41-minute sample size. But short hop the post, and Rodriguez certainly the beneficiary of that.
I like the idea of what Miami's trying to do defensively with Milano rotating underneath. Sebastian Blanco comes a little bit high, yes, but he's actually coming further out on this left-hand side. Defensively, it's working. It's forcing some passages in. It's not allowing Perrin Barnes to get on the ball for Pittsburgh. What it's also doing, though, is eliminating him as an outlet within the midfield. And they've basically bypassed the idea of playing with the 10 because of how much work Blanco is having to do off the ball. On your side of your screen.
Huge switch over the top. Mertz playing the cross.
within it. That's why you're starting to see more out of the midfield. Robbie Mertz having more freedom as he drops. Bradley Sample coming to play higher. All culminates in the best chance of the game for the Hounds and their first shot on target 42 minutes in.
Cardona. This is where Miami is almost probing for that long ball forward. Clever leave on Filio. You mentioned working to link better with teammates, dropping into midfield once he gets into these attacking moments. All over to Blanco now. Sebastian Blanco. Flag stays down. Bonfilio. Well, you need to bring a chisel for moments like this. Pittsburgh, when they get into a block, very difficult to break. The USL on CBS Sports Network wraps up July with a championship showdown. Eastern Conference side Hartford Athletic taking on one of the Western Conference's top performers, New Mexico United. It's Wednesday, July 30th. Tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern on the CBS Sports Network.
There's another one for Bradley Sample. He is going to be first in line for the masseuse.
Well, and you can give a card not only for the number of fouls that you yourself give, but
within
also
the team itself. Yeah,
on one individual player.
Correct. Well, that's where the referee steps in and says once, twice, 3 times, I've had enough.
Right.
It hasn't been addressed in that manner just yet. Amazing to see the amount of ground, though, that Bradley Sample has been able to cover for Pittsburgh Riverhounds in the midfield.
3 minutes of stoppage time.
I have liked what we've started to see develop within this game. How he works a little bit higher on the right. Robbie Mertz starting to come under, and listen, it puts more defensive responsibilities on a guy like Jackson Walty, but he was born for that role. Under the tutelage of Jay Vidovich at Pitt, it's exactly the way that he was utilized. Moments like this, play that single six, work off of each other. He doesn't want the ball at his feet a ton, but it allows everybody else in front of him to play the game higher and challenge the shape of Miami.
Ball lobbed across. Karams into an offside position.
You can feel for Augie Williams. He can't get service when he wants to be there, and when he is in the right spot, comes at the wrong time. It's actually much better ball movement from the Hounds overall. There's that rotation again. Much more frequent. We're seeing Bradley Sample pivot off of this right-hand side, but as it comes through, Augie Williams in the way. Offside position. Story of the first half, right? Indecisive for both teams. Wrong place, wrong time when they do hit the release button. Physicality of play has been much better, to be fair, for Miami. Something that Gaston Madoni said, if we're going to get a result tonight and the rest of the year, they have to be more aggressive in the midfield. They've done that. Really disrupted the overall flow. But there have been plenty of moments for both of these teams going forward that they just have not been able to execute on. That's the message going into the locker room at halftime about being more decisive, especially with the limited opportunities that have been presented, Mike.
Williams. Another minute to go in this first half. A leap over. Matias Romero. It'll be a corner right before halftime. Mertz 4 goals and an assist on the season, contributing to 5 of the 14 Hounds goals on the campaign. And a good chance this is the final action of the half. Mertz, that's a lot of bodies floating around in front of goal. Biasi was on the ground. Header speared back toward the penalty spot, sent away, and we are sent into halftime. So, expert performance by Dick in the first half, and Pittsburgh, as they always seemingly do, kept a clean sheet through 45, kept Blanco and Bonfilio off the board. Some hot tempers on a hot, humid night in the Steel City of Pittsburgh between Miami and the Hounds. Coming up, we show you the Jaeger Cup quarterfinal matchups that have been decided now. And Trevor James is out in Detroit. A look at all he accomplished during his run with Detroit City. You're watching the USL Championship on ESPN.
The Hounds would like to wish a very happy birthday to Clark B. Birthdays are brought to you by All About Fun, providing everything you need to create birthday memories of your own.
It is a party in Pittsburgh. Breakdancing now an Olympic sport. Move over, Philip Kim. This dude's got you beat. They judge on technique, vocab, execution, musicality, originality. This dude's got it all. With the far less talented breakdancer, Devin Kerr, Mike Watts as well. I've never seen you try. Here's our news and notes. It's presented by Tiger Balm. Over 8,000 fans there for the big matchup between Lexington and Louisville. Ultimately, Devin, neither of them find their way out of the group stage of the Jägermeister Cup. 7 of the 8 spots, however, are going to championship clubs who, on the whole, dominated League One opposition. But we did see a triumphant team making the move up. Take a look at this Wednesday, August 20th, quadruple header. 3 games at 7 o'clock and an 8:30 kickoff for San Antonio and Hartford. Indy, it turns out, will be hosting. Greenville unable to get access to their venue for this occasion. All the while, Devin, I think the biggest news took us by surprise, certainly. Trevor James out in Detroit.
He's the manager that brought them into the professional ranks, into the championship back in 2022. Success has followed him at every single turn. People turned their heads back in 2024 when they brought Danny Dicchio in and Trevor James moved into the front office. The biggest conversation that we're having right now, Mike, was the same thing that happened then. What's the identity of this organization moving forward? Defensively stout. They had trophies at every single level. Now that he departs the sideline and the front office, is it going to be this wide open, attack-minded team that we had hoped it would be under Danny Dicchio? Only time will tell, but right now, one thing's for sure. They need results and fast, as they have been dropping down the Eastern Conference table.
Wishing Trevor all the best, former head coach, sporting director out in Detroit. Amo riding around here in Pittsburgh, where it is always a party. The Riverhounds, however, yet to break the deadlock against Miami. All the first half highlight when we come back. It's the USL Championship on ESPN. The best Alphaba wins. It is Wicked Night here, and the costume contest well judged. However, it is scoreless at halftime. Come into the booth, everyone, in his best costume. Devin Kerr, Mike Watts as well. Dev, what do you make of that first half?
Wicked good. Two can play this game. Indecisive. That's what it was about in the first half for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds and Miami FC. Not a ton of opportunities, but we'll show you what we did get out of it. I give Miami FC credit, and the reason I say that is on the road in the heat against one of the best defensive units in the league, certainly the most in form, willing to go and attack it and play it up high. That's how they're going to get better, though. Too many a time we've seen Bonfilio in isolated situations. Instead, two separate times, again, not enough, but we saw Miami FC 5 players inside 30 yards and out. The response took half an hour, and the response specifically came from 2 players, Robbie Mertz and Bradley Sample. For me, he was the player of the match in the opening 45 minutes. The way that he started to attack on this right-hand flank, bump himself out of the midfield, drag Miami FC runners with him, and opening up space on the inside. But then the way that he contorts himself based upon the way Pittsburgh wants to attack. He's not able to create combination play down on the byline because of how Perrin Barnes had already moved high. So instead, recognizes the space to rotate down underneath, does a great job splitting the 2 center backs, and nearly creates the opening goal for the Hounds, but denied by the woodwork.
Take a look at the halftime stats. It shows Miami with a possession advantage, which historically doesn't mean a lot for these teams.
Still, my favorite stat within all of that is the fact that you hit the 8x8 and it doesn't account for a shot on target. That was the best chance in the first half. Conversation by managers, more aggression, more physical, and certainly more chances in the second 45 minutes.
I swear there are no wasted strokes by the entertainment staff here in Pittsburgh. Dick and the Hounds have kept it scoreless against Miami at the break. Second half next on ESPN. majestic, magnificent Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania on this Tuesday evening, a scorcher in the middle of the summer. And is there any more beautiful vantage point in all of American soccer? Riverside, and overlooking the skyline, Highmark Stadium. Hometown of Robbie Mertz. Meanwhile, Miami trying to steal a point, maybe more here this evening. Halftime, they had a little bit of everything. A second half, we hope, has a handful of goals in it. Certainly was the case in the Hounds' last game in the Jägermeister Cup against Portland Hearts of Pine, a 4-goal second half. In totality, a 2-2 draw. And it is a frustrating stretch for Miami. 4 winless, couple losses, couple draws. They can alleviate a lot of that frustration. They're able to find a way tonight. Dev, I always imagined you being a big Wicked fan. That's the theme night here this evening.
What gave it away? My witch costumes from Halloween. You been in my closet again?
Yeah, I spend a lot of time in the
closet. Told you to stay out of there.
Yep. We'll see which side finds the magic here tonight. There was a leprechaun on the field pregame, and I feel like people probably won't believe me when I say that, given all that's occurred here at halftime. But I swear to you, it's true. We'll see who finds the pot of gold at the end of this rainbow. On to the second half here in Pittsburgh. Steered on, Pittsburgh takes control. The familiar black and yellow has come to define the city's sporting culture. Only 1 loss at home all season. We saw their lone draw at home in the league, conceded late against Loudoun a couple of weeks ago. Miami had 3 wins in totality in 34 games last year. They've won 2 games on the road and 5 already through 16 this year. But Devin, I think as we talk to coaches around the league, you get past the Open Cup at the beginning and then the Jägermeister Cup. You know, we're at the point now where 7 of the 24 teams in the championship have advanced. The rest are done with that competition. Ball lobbed across and met by Biasi. And all of a sudden you look up, and with the shorter season, only 30 games because of the Jägermeister Cup games taking 4 away from the regular year, all of a sudden you're already in the stretch run now.
And yet still some teams trying to figure out exactly who they are. I don't think that's necessarily the case for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Adjusted a couple of times. Been incredible defensively. Just 5 goals against in their last 9 matches, only 14 on the season overall.
That was really good work. Get it over to Vasquez. Shuttled back over to Blanco. Offers the cross, that's an open header. Misguided header to it. Now hit toward frame. Dick got his palm to it. Steers it out over the line. Majestic from Eric Dick.
The way that he has to react to this too, work back across his body. Great lateral movement. Sebastian Blanco, this time he rotates right, the tendency on the left, and it freezes the back line of the Hounds. Credit to Bonfilio to keep this alive. He does not go the selfish route from a poor angle. Instead, the established players up high for Miami FC elects to find the trailing runner.
Blanco, header down, dealt with by Pittsburgh.
And that's the thing about them, right, is you get these glimpses of Miami FC to where you can see how good they can be against some of the best in the business. Reminder, started 0 for 4, 4 straight losses to begin 2025. To get back on track, a recovery win against the second best team now in the Western Conference, San Antonio FC. They've also bested in the top 4 conversation, North Carolina FC, Loudoun, and the Charleston Battery. They've shown that they can compete with the title contenders around this league. This is just about consistency and replicating every single week.
Yeah, and I think we talk often, you and I, about the idea that you are who you beat. If that's the case, Miami is a good team. They're an inconsistent team, to your point.
Oh, the inconsistent part is actually against lower opposition, if you will. So you can battle with the big boys, but if you look at the losses, then you're having conversations about teams struggling in domestic play. Your Tampa Bay Rowdies, right? Your Birmingham Legions, although on the up and up recently, have struggled this year as well. Even Detroit City, teams that are right at or just below the playoff line that have not been able to get the job done when it matters most. And I say when it matters most because, like, those are the games you have to win. You would like to win the games against the top four. In order to retain relevance, you need to beat the teams right on around the playoff line in the hunt for postseason.
Romero tried to open that up for Blanco. Runs up above Biasi, knocked down by Ricketts, and all the way back to Knudsen. Your point about North Carolina, about Loudon, I think it's clear. Charleston and Louisville appear to have run past most everybody at this point. Take someone running the table to really challenge that group.
I'll tell you right now, no one's catching them. So let's get that out of the picture.
But Bob Lilly made a good point. He said, you look 3 all the way down. It feels like everyone is having that push right now in the East. This drops down very kindly toward frame. Whipped off the bar. That tattoos the woodwork. Vasquez. That's as good a chance as Miami could dream of. Blanco hits it forward, caught by Dick.
What was the timing on the header on the back line? You don't often see a mistake like that by the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. A bit of separation between Idrach, Suber, and Vactor, and he just misjudges it. No pressure whatsoever. Vasquez more than happy to pick it up. I think it gets a little bit excited, Mike, to be honest, the fact that it fell in front of him and leans back a bit too much, which is why it comes up high.
Romero knocked down by Walty. That's going to come with a card. It's the first card issued tonight.
Within that, though, another very direct, clean ball to challenge the Hound once again in transition. First one directly in front of Matias Romero on his rotation out of the midfield. Seems to be given a little bit more freedom here. Gaston Madoni to that midfield 5. Too tight at times in the first half. The compliment of how narrow they were wasn't reciprocated by Cardona and Ricketts, the 2 outside backs playing high. So lost a little bit of their shape, conceded the width of the midfield, and Pittsburgh Riverhounds took full advantage, at least in terms of control. Certainly no goals to show from it, though.
Vasquez and Blanco. Blanco will stroll away, but someone should be keeping an eye on him. Vasquez feigns. Backpedaling, that runs over the top. Can't watch the match? Turn on Sirius XM FC 157. It's North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk. Includes USL All Access on Tuesday nights, plus your live matches from the USL, MLS, Premier League, and more. It's all on Sirius XM FC 157 and the Sirius XM app. Well, Froggy Williams, scooped up by Rodriguez. Danny Stone, the head coach at Orange County. Guest this week on All Access, talking about oftentimes, Devin, having about a half dozen teenagers in that lineup. They call it the next wave coming up in Orange County. Rodriguez chips this away. See Orange County and Phoenix tomorrow night here on ESPN2, 10 p.m. Eastern time. Blanco led the charge forward. Romero and Mercado playing catch. Vasquez. Stonewall, Blanco, back to Vasquez. Lofts it over now. That's a more sure header. There go Mercado. Matias Romero. Knudsen. Spent a handful of years at Tormenta and at Union Omaha. In League One, his second year at Miami. Ricketts. Overcooked. This game begging for a substitute that could really change things. And they're going to bring on a player who managed a hat trick against Miami a year ago. Bertrand Jacquesson, with injury early in the year. Comes off a brace against Portland Hearts of Pine in the USL Jägermeister Cup over the weekend. And that's it for Augie Williams.
I feel the pain for Augie Williams. You can see the frustration on the eyes of the striker for the Hounds. Just 19 touches over 56 minutes of play. That's what the statistician will write down. Clean in the final third. Problem was is he would bob, they would weave, and really the dance continues to try and find a Pittsburgh as they move forward.
Well, no more popular player in Pittsburgh at the end of last season than Jacquesson. 7 goal contributions in 8 games as the Hounds caught fire.
He was a part of that run that was just 1 loss in their final 16 matches, included 9 wins and a +22 goal differential.
That's as good as anybody in the league in that span.
I don't think we've seen anything in terms of the quality that can be that man right there. Center portion of your screen, Bertrand Jacquesson, 42 goal contributions in 61 matches just across the river.
I believe you called both of his College Cup appearances with him.
Yeah, he's used to call him the...
Fans, it's time to announce the winner of the
People are going to laugh when I say it.
Brought to you by Ohana Health
Yeah.
Services.
I feel bad saying it out loud now as Robbie Mertz is down.
Sarah Pirati. Congratulations,
We'll bring this back around in a few minutes. All eyes on Mertz.
Special thanks to Ohana Health Services for sponsoring today's giveaway.
Used to call him the baby Mbappe. It was the way that he ran, working off of the wing, one-on-one situations. Similar type of position that man right there picks up. But now you're in the 9. Have to operate by yourself. Finds himself trying to utilize his speed a bit more to his advantage in group play, if you will. Traffic has been proven a little bit more difficult for him to adjust to, especially with his physical of play as you deal with at the championship level. And look at the 2 guys in front of him, and Knudsen and Akinyoti. Just constant pressure for Bertrand Jacquesson, which is why you haven't seen any league goals this season, and just now finding a bit of rhythm and success up top. As you mentioned, the 2 goals.
1 from the spot, 1 in the run of play. It's Miami with decent numbers. Trying to get by Suber. Dick. Rodriguez.
Well, certainly the attacking opportunities for Miami FC haven't exactly gone to plan. I have been very impressed with how physical they've been, both on and off the ball. They've gotten pushed around in a lot of games, and that has not been the case here tonight, at least not so far. Better in the midfield. They've really forced Mercado to cover more ground as they've released Romero up high. But given the tactical scheme with Blanco that we've addressed a few times, how he rotates off that left shoulder of Bonfilio, you need that ground coverage and an extra body in, especially if you want to try and pull open the seams of that back three for the Hounds.
Blanco on the move, upended. Edrach unable to connect. And it's Ricketts. Vasquez comes from the Ecuadorian second division, which he previously won a different club. It's his first year at Miami. We have a number of players ties to Argentina, Gaston Madoni's native country. Outside of Buenos Aires, I would think that Miami has quickly become Argentina's favorite. Soccer hotbed.
It's a good guess. Calculated on your part.
Yeah, doing the math.
He can't buy a Val tonight, Bradley Sample.
No.
Even when there's not a tackle. All just pinged off him. He's done well for himself tonight. Another really good decision right there, just quickly ushering it forward. But again, as they work themselves inside the box, there's no run to the near post there. That's hit by a hope from Danny Griffin that someone's going to be able to run onto the end of it. Instead, you've got two runners that if you drift this all to the way to the backside, you allow Robbie Mertz to at least try and get on the end of it.
I have to think that Milano felt that given a bit too easily, suffered by Edrach.
It's a little weak for my liking, personally.
It is with Pittsburgh. We're past the hour mark tonight. A win puts them 1 point out of fourth place. Top 8 in each conference make the playoffs. Flag is up. It's offside. And of course, within that, the top 4 would host in the first round. Miami's only made the postseason twice in their now 6th year in the championship. Pittsburgh, on the other hand, the second longest playoff streak in the league. Hit it every year since 2018. Perhaps not coincidentally, since Bob Lilly arrived. Only longer streak, Louisville, than the 9 of the last 10 Eastern Conference Finals. Hounds trending upward, 1 loss in their last 8. That goes to the 1st of June. And no team has better exemplified the fact it's both a marathon and at times a sprint in this league. Into the final third, this is bright for Pittsburgh. Bounces away from Rodriguez and swiftly dealt with by Akinyoti. Mertz goes sliding, won it back here for Pittsburgh. Into the area, the cutback, second try. Can't buy a foul, can't solve the puzzle.
Another really good decision by Danny Griffin to come vertical on it. I want you to keep an eye on the run to the near side here. Release it now. That extra touch is so unnecessary by the Hounds coming forward. Edrach gets himself into the right place, does all of the hard work, and then doesn't make the right decision. Credit to Robbie Mertz, who always has the engine that's constantly on go. But there's no reason, given the amount of space that they have to work with, that that's the opportunity you're getting out of the effort that's been put forth. You hate to sound like a broken record, but 64 minutes in, it's the same conversation, right?
I think Bob Lilly mentioned it to us a couple weeks ago ahead of their game against Loudoun. Said it's tough to score in bunches if you run out of ideas in the final third. He said we need to pull opponents apart, find that final ball more consistently.
One of the things that happens, Mike, is when opportunities are limited.
Oh, given away by Dick. Struck with venom, and Dick immediately atones. Subs are incoming in a moment. These are really significant points. You mentioned it at the outset. They may be 5th and 9th in the league, but they're separated by just 4 points. They'll meet again at the beginning of October at Pitbull Stadium in Miami. That'll be with 4 games remaining for each team.
Where I was going within all of that was if opportunities are limited, then when they do present themselves, Mike, you lack confidence and you second guess yourself. Whether it's E-Jots on the overlapping run, the strike from distance. This is what happens when it's not for lack of chances, it's for lack of execution. And to Bob Lilly's point, at least on the night, Pittsburgh have done enough, as have Miami, to create at least one, if not more, breakthroughs in this match.
Biasi. It's good control. Getting the end line. Rodriguez knocked it aside. Domineering header from Akinyote out of harm's way. Up and out by Romero. On Gavilanes, as you can see at the bottom of your screen. Celeste is set to come in as well.
Watch the backside of the screen and Romero, who works off of this ball. Robbie Mertz and Bradley Sample, men on fire in the midfield for Pittsburgh. You know, as he cuts in here, Mike doesn't really have much of an angle. All you can do is hit this with a ton of bank back across, force a save by the goalkeeper. Good adjustment by Rodriguez, who spills it down the middle, but no trailing troops in support.
There is Francesco Celeste, who's played in Mexico, Italy, Costa Rica, Bulgaria, Venezuela, came up through Boca Juniors, where he got to know the former youth coach, current Miami FC head coach Gaston Madoni. And Alan Gavilanes, number of playoff runs at Greenville, second team All-League before arriving a season ago at Miami, joining off the bench. Blanco and Romero off for Miami FC.
What a ball.
Off the outside of the netting and offside.
Clever, though. This is different than what we've seen. Again, inside the top of the 18, activity level has to come higher, especially with how condensed it is for this back line. So you win the initial battle. Watch the crossing pattern. There's that patented back shoulder run we were talking about in the open for Bonfiglio. Smart, tight in nature, but it presents a different threat than what Pittsburgh have seen overall. Shot on target or not, better build going forward.
Can Bonfiglio have the moment tonight? Is this another historic championship giant Miami can slay? Vasquez took the hit.
how do you do with the elbow off the backside? That'll leave a mark. And the physical side was something that Gaston Madoni very clear on, that his team needed to bring up more than a couple of notches in order to continue this run going forward. What have they done? Equaled the challenges put forth by Pittsburgh Riverhounds, who many a team around this league, Mike, would look and say they are the most physical, at least one of the top 5.
Yeah.
Dominate you defensively. They don't allow you a lot of time and space. Ball arrivals, there's always someone who's checking you at the right time, and second and third chance balls tonight, much better done by the visitors in open space.
Vasquez is back up. By the way, peek at the top of the Miami FC jersey. I give them a lot of credit for this. That's actually a lollipop company. Bum, bum, bum. At the beginning of the season, Miami put out a video essentially launching the sponsorship that said, last year we sucked. Their poster is suck at something. Well, it's not at soccer this year. 3 wins a season ago. They owned that. Certainly made plenty of adjustments over the offseason. They've got 20 minutes to go here. Try and pick up another marquee win. Pittsburgh fans starting to find a second wind as well. Bounces out on the line. The USL on ESPN2 continues tomorrow at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Orange County Soccer Club takes on Western Conference rival Phoenix Rising FC. You'll see at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific on ESPN2.
Got a hall pass to stay up past your bedtime for that one, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Good for you.
By the great Marion Crowder for that one. Not that you won't be missed. That header sends Zach and Yodi to deal with it off the turf. Suber. Griffin. Powering forward, it was nearly a kind deflection, but scattered back to Rodriguez. Varane set to come on in a moment. 24-year-old Argentinian midfielder for Miami. Vasquez down.
Coming out, number 30, Christian Vasquez. Now in, number 11, Dejan Varane.
Credit to the theme music, the players on and off, by the way. Theme night till the end. It's wicked good sponsorship.
Does the playbill have a goal tonight?
Only in the director's cut.
Uh-oh. 17 minutes to play to find out. Varane comes in and immediately tries to make an impact. Pass knocked down. It's the second window, third sub utilized by Miami. Vasquez, who had been fairly influential, came off there to stop. Gavilanes. Cross field, and ultimately unable to cross up the keeper. I'll tell you about the upcoming Pittsburgh subs at all in a moment. As that bench that Bob Lilly probably spoke about having a chance to really impact the game tonight is about to be unleashed. Dick. Knocked down at the halfway line. Cotto forward, levied off by Varane. Get that finishing pass in from Bonfiglio. You feel for the player there because, yeah, it takes a weird bounce, but it still felt like he got whacked decently enough at the end of that.
That's a foul. There's no question about that for me. Ball came back across his body, did enough to separate from the defender, and what looked to be contact with Knudsen.
Ultimately, Jockeson gets the short end of the stick. Celeste, ball knocked down atop the penalty spot, turning. Bonfiglio still searching. Soars above Dick and out.
This is just about individual brilliance for Bonfiglio, who's a bit unfortunate on the tail end of it. I keep talking about his timing and runs, the way that he's able to slip into that back shoulder run and confuse the defender. Good little jump up in front, but on the backside of Suber and the way that the ball sits up. First touch off the chest, sublime. The second one, though, just gets caught up underneath him on the turf, and he has to react to it. He's trying to continue the run going forward initially. And then on the recovery, angle, much too acute. Not difficult for Dick at all.
Sample is done for the night. Robbie Mertz as well. And all attention on Charles Hall, who's just been so good this year. The pride of Stetson, ASUN Player of the Year. Signed February the 1st, had a good appearance at the offseason combine in Pittsburgh, then in the preseason. Missed some time early. His 9th pro appearance in the regular season. Junior at 2, long-time league vet into the game as well.
Well, you would imagine this will be Griffin working a little bit deeper underneath to allow Etu to use those fresh legs up high. Alongside Jacquesson and Charles Hall.
USL Championship and League One are on CBS Sports and ESPN platforms all season long. Get to that in a moment. Good give and go here for Pittsburgh. The intervention sees it slide free to Celeste. Cardona stays there. Catch-like matches, expert analysis every day on the CBS Sports Golasso Network and ESPN Plus. USLChampionship.com, USLLeague1.com. Complete USL TV listings. Two games tomorrow night. Hartford Athletic, New Mexico United, 8 p.m. Eastern on the CBS Sports Network. We're with you for a late night affair in Orange County. OC welcoming Phoenix, 10 Eastern here on ESPN2. How about of the 4 teams outside playoff position in the Eastern Conference, Devin? 3 of the 4 teams made the Jägermeister Cup quarterfinals: Birmingham, Hartford, and Rhode Island. What an odd phenomenon that is.
Understanding that Birmingham actually was in a playoff position coming into the night.
It would require Miami holding on to this point to jump them, yes.
Point still stands.
For now. Walty. Ricketts swung down.
We have a substitution for Miami.
Got to a new 2-year deal with an option signed over the offseason, the age of 31.
And in his place, number 29, Kevin Hoyos.
Kevin Hoyos in off the bench, California native, the age of 32. Much of his career, Estudiantes payroll, but out on loan over 3 separate occasions. Really made his name in Honduras over a 5-year stint. 5th appearance, regular season for Hoyos. Three times tonight they've hit the woodwork, these two sides. They're on. Barnes.
Tonight's post-match meal partner is Dianoi's Eatery. Voted the best Italian restaurant in Pittsburgh on the PGH City Paper and Pittsburgh Magazine. Dianoi's Eatery is
It's the 3rd window for Miami, so in theory, sub-wise, they're done here. 82 minutes.
Bread, sandwiches, and more. Visit Dianoi's Eatery at 26th Street and Penn Ave or at dianoiseatery.com.
Not quite. Dev, when you look at, I mentioned Jägermeister Cup a moment ago. Greenville gets through from League One. We know the matchups now, and the times for that matter. August 20th, those 4 games. Neither Pittsburgh nor Miami found their way through. Do you have a favorite now that we're down to 8? Sacramento has to go on the road, cross country. That's a tough one.
That's still my favorite, though.
Is it?
They've proven to be the most consistent. I feel like their balance is there.
Good jump cut. There's the ball across. Tap Tom. Bonfilio. Finally, he's found the moment. Gavilanes finds Bonfilio for the Miami go-ahead. And do they possibly have yet another epic win in them this year? They lulled the game to sleep, and now they slip one past the Golden Glove winning goalkeeper. It's 1-0.
Watch the physical challenge centrally, though. That starts to open up the initial opportunity. They win. Forward thinking. Everything has to be vertical in nature for this team to have success. Gavilanes, after he wins his individual battle in the corner, the one-on-one, watch his head. First touch right around him, peeks up immediately. Recognizes the fact that Bonfilio on the patented run on the back shoulder once again has created the path to success. Nothing that Eric Dick can do doesn't need time, just a glimmer of space, and the hope that once again, Miami FC have bested a giant in the East.
So Miami leads here with less than 10 minutes to go. And suddenly, Devin, they won't be in sixth, goal difference being what it is. It's the first time they've scored against Pittsburgh after dropping both games in the series a season ago since September of 2023. Don't look now. They could be not just sitting above the playoff line. I mean, they'd be 1 point off Pittsburgh. A team that struggled so much, a company genuinely signed a sponsorship deal on the concept of being truly terrible a season ago. This Miami team has been the surprise of the league this year. A brutal start. A tremendous April and May. A struggle through the early stages of the summer. They really might do it again. And now all the pressure on Pittsburgh to find an answer. We saw Miami have really bright first halves and give games away. We've seen them get late into games and give them away. That's the next evolution, perhaps, for them. This is a test now tonight.
Assuming they're able to complete this over the next 5 minutes, that's the biggest question, right? Is get a look at Jonathan Ricketts. Such an influential piece on that back line for Castelmadoni. The subs, the biggest topic of conversation in our takeaway chat from Hounds head coach Bob Lilly. Instead, Gavilanis, the Miami FC substitute, who, at least at this point in time, makes one of the biggest impacts on the night. Yes, the goal scorer, once again, Bonfilio, who now has scored in 10 individual matches on the season. That's best in the championship.
And his 11 goals now second only to Cal Jennings. Overlap, service, away. Waltu's camping beneath it. Miami's dealt with it. Into the opposite half. Lands at the foot of Dick. Over to Biasi. That is a painful set piece conceded by Jonathan Ricketts. Corner for Pittsburgh. Bob's out to Walty. Didn't manage to do much with that. Comes down to Bonfilio.
One of the key areas I've addressed a couple of times on the night. I've talked about it over the course of the season. Just underneath that front line, Mike. You step in front of guys like Griffin and Walty. There's just 10, 15 yards. Stepping up onto that initial attacking front. Chacasson, his strengths are not to be able to play back to goal. If you want to work to the outside, you have to do it quick, move into the channel, find service for him to allow him to attack inside the box. Instead, he works underneath. Midfield works out. No combination play, no presence up top.
Another corner.
Time for another college corner.
When you concede this late, it suddenly becomes a very compact field. And it's not the biggest pitch in the championship to begin with. Corner for Pittsburgh. Rodriguez bobbled it. He's got it now. That is a young goalkeeper at the age of 21.
Nearly. Serviceable has certainly not been the case for Rodriguez in the absence of Billamide. He's done quite well for himself, to be honest, but nearly gives an easy one back to the Hounds. Just keep it here. Don't overcomplicate the game. There's no reason to force the issue unless it's absolutely available. Game management, kill it off, make the Hounds chase.
I'll take as much time as they deem necessary here. No hurry whatsoever. Scampering back over the Pittsburgh netminder.
Ladies and gentlemen, there will be 4 minutes.
4 added minutes. It's Bonfilio's 11th of the year. I beg your earlier pardon. Abdelatif Abukora, Cal Jennings, both on 11. Into a tie for the Golden Boot lead on goals. And it may have Miami soaring back above the playoff line. All awaits. Hands off to Barnes. Shakason. All. Got up high off the head of Ricketts. Not a handball. Knutson into the stands. That's great work by Amo. Floated ahead, steered down to Rodriguez on the service from Vactor.
He felt like someone was going to run off the end of this, Bertrand Jacquesson. It doesn't look like his overall intention is to go at goal, instead to redirect it down onto the 6. I don't blame him for it. Unfortunately, nobody else got the memo.
Suddenly a bright moment, 2 minutes remaining. Junior at 2, slashing through the penalty area. Racing through at the far side. Clip to Walty, unable to combine atop the 18.
Not a ton of minutes under the belt for Celeste, but his little deflection there is the reason this stays out of the back of the net. This is the game management I was talking about, Mike. Just keep it here. Force Pittsburgh to react.
Avalanez, that's not going to count. It's offside. And that's going to open the door for Pittsburgh perhaps one last time. If you're Gavilanes, you take that to the corner and you're into the 94th minute.
Bingo, and this game is over. And instead, you've given Pittsburgh at least a slim chance of getting back into this.
That's a handball. Atu gets shoved down. J.C. Griggs had a long look at that, and he had a very good view of that. And now a foul from Pittsburgh. There is no VAR in the championship. We get the look, he does not.
Ricketts stands tall. I didn't see it in real time. There's not enough in that. No. No chance it's a penalty. Goes to ground. Very soft, Etu. Now, Ricketts is a little bit away from his body, but the momentum already heading that direction. And if you notice, no real argument from the player after the fact.
Is the remaining time about to elapse? Pinged forward, Pittsburgh wins the first ball. We've gone up over the 94. Might be on here for Pittsburgh. They're going to bring it back. They played advantage. Well, it's got to be right now. Last chance here for Pittsburgh to try and eke out a point. Add to the cross, the header, the goal, the last kick of the game. Oh, it's incredible, Charles All. Charles All scores for the very first time on the very last touch.
And they didn't set themselves quick enough after the fact. Too much arguing. Game management aside, the mistake on one end turns disastrous on the other. Great decision to play quickly down into the corner, and then an extremely aggressive ball to the near post. Then Charles All comes galloping from the opposite side of the field, crashes the party on the near post on Miami FC, and somehow pulls his team from the depths to salvage a point.
And what a moment for the Stetson grad to bag that vital goal, leave Miami so frustrated. They took it 94.5 minutes, and Charles All is tonight's Prince Tires MVP. A moment he'll certainly never forget.
This team has needed a spark on that front line. Just underneath, to be clear, the ASUN Player of the Year. One of the best in the business on the collegiate ranks last year. Took a trial, took patience, and time, most importantly, to get him to the point where he could salvage the singularity for the Hounds. Credit for staying locked in and giving the Hounds an opportunity to stay within striking distance of the top four.
Maybe they just needed a little bit of luck at the end. Pittsburgh finally breaks through. Bonfilio, now the leading scorer jointly in the championship, is 11th in the 83rd, but it's Charles All with his first at 90+5, 1-1. For Devin, Mike, we'll see you again tomorrow night for Orange County Phoenix at 10 Eastern here on ESPN2.